let's talk about one of history's greatest mysteries, shall we? The Count of Saint Germain. He was this man who, by all accounts, just didn't seem to die. But this isn't just a history lesson. This is about the huge ideas that a legend like his can spark.
Seriously, just for a second, forget if it's even possible. Just ask the question. What would it actually mean for someone to exist outside of time? To watch empires rise and fall, not in some book, but right in front of them. That's the puzzle we're going to try and piece together today. And to help us navigate this, let's imagine a scholar, okay? He's in his study, surrounded by old books, trying to make sense of it all. He's not just hunting for facts, he's searching for meaning. He's wondering, what does the very idea of an immortal man tell us about our own hopes and our own fears? His journey starts, as so many do, by looking up.
So our scholar first dives into the spiritual side of things. What if Saint Germain wasn't just a man? What if he was something more? A kind of blueprint for what we could all become? He bumps into this idea from Theosophy, which says the Count's immortality wasn't some biological fluke, but a spiritual achievement. In this view, he's an ascended master, a being who's kind of graduated from the whole cycle of life and death and now sticks around to help guide the rest of us. He isn't just living longer, he's on a whole different level. And this is where it gets really interesting. Theosophy connects him to something called the sacred violet flame, which you can think of as this divine energy that just cleanses things. It purifies negativity. His job, in this view, is to help bring in the seventh age for humanity. He's here to help us transform all our collective baggage, our karma, into spiritual freedom. So he's not just some guy who lived forever. He's a living, breathing roadmap for where we go next. The scholar's mind then wanders over to the cryptic world of alchemy. You know, we've all heard the stories, turning lead into gold. But he knows that for the real alchemists, the gold was never the point. The great work, as they called it, was a big, beautiful metaphor for refining the human soul. This whole process shows that when people said the Count could perfect diamonds, it was really a symbol for his own inner state. He was taking our base consciousness, our ego, our raw instincts, and refining it into solar enlightenment, a state of pure, total awareness. From this point of view, immortality isn't the goal you're chasing, it's just the natural result of a soul that's in perfect harmony with everything. So after exploring the spiritual, our scholar turns his gaze inward. He starts to wonder, wait a minute, what if this whole story isn't really about the Count at all? What if it's just a mirror, reflecting something hidden deep inside all of us? And that leads him straight to Carl Jung. From a Jungian angle, Saint Germain is the perfect puer aeternus, which basically means the eternal youth. This is an archetype, a pattern that lives in all of us. It's that deep, collective desire to escape getting old, to run from responsibility, to dodge death. He represents pure, infinite potential, never weighed down by the choices of a single lifetime. I mean, think about it. We live in a world that's always changing, right? Don't we all crave some kind of fixed point, something that lasts? The legend of Saint Germain gives us exactly that. He's a symbol for the self, that core part of you that just watches as your body and your personality go through their cycles. He sticks around because we need him to. He's like a psychological anchor in the storm of time. But the scholar keeps digging, and a new, unsettling thought starts to take shape. He flips the coin. What if this fantasy of eternal life isn't a dream? What if it's a nightmare? A truly terrifying curse? This pulls him into the existentialist view. And this chart just lays out the two extremes perfectly. On one side, you have the Jungian dream, infinite possibilities, total freedom. But the existentialists fire back with a harsh dose of reality. Infinite possibility? That just becomes soul-crushing boredom. Freedom from consequences? That makes everything meaningless. If there's always another day, why does today even matter? And being an unchanging witness, that sounds like a horribly lonely struggle, watching everyone and everything you love just fade away. Thinking about this pit of meaninglessness, the scholar feels a pull toward a different kind of order. If an immortal life is just a lonely struggle, maybe its purpose isn't about human connection. Maybe it's about embodying a fundamental law of the universe itself. This takes him into the metaphysical. He lands on this core principle of Hermetic philosophy. As above, so below. It's this simple, elegant idea that the huge patterns of the cosmos are perfectly mirrored in our own tiny lives. The giant and the small are one and the same. And for some, Saint Germain was the living, breathing proof of this powerful idea.
So in this light, his life becomes this radical statement. The material world isn't a fixed prison with hard rules. No, it's more like clay, a flexible medium that can be shaped by a focused will. His so-called miracles weren't him breaking the laws of nature. They were him demonstrating a higher law, one where spirit is the boss and matter does what it's told. This mastery was symbolized by what alchemists called the tria prima, the three primes. As you can see, they believed everything was made of salt, which represents the stable physical body, sulfur, the fiery, passionate soul, and mercury, the transcendent, flowing spirit. By getting these three into perfect balance, Saint Germain was said to have reached a state that was both solid and fluid at the same time. The key takeaway here is that this philosophy suggests we are all potential alchemists. We all have the power to shape our own reality if we can focus our intention.
So now we get to our scholar's final thoughts. He's seen the Count as a divine guide, a psychological symbol, a lonely hero, and a master of universal law. But as he looks out his window, he wonders, what if all of these perspectives are missing the most important point of all? And then a final paradox just clicks into place. This figure of pure, untamed mystery was at his peak during the Age of Reason. The Enlightenment was all about explaining things, categorizing the world, building a perfect clockwork universe. And there, right in the middle of it all, was Saint Germain, a man who absolutely defied every single box they tried to put him in. He is, the scholar realizes, the hidden variable. In an age so hell-bent on proving that everything could be explained, he was the living, walking proof that no matter how smart we think we are, there are always forces and possibilities that are just beyond our grasp.
And that makes his meaning so much bigger than just one guy. He becomes a parable for the infinite human. He represents that part in all of us that refuses to be defined by our time, by our biology, or by the limits other people try to put on us. He's the potential for transcendence that lives inside every single one of us.
And as our scholar finally puts down his pen, it hits him. The whole search for the real Saint Germain, it was never the point. Who he really was, what he could really do, those are questions without answers. And that's the gift. The mystery is the whole point. It's the thing that forces us to question, to explore, and to grow. In the end, maybe that's his only true legacy. He's not a destination, he's a doorway, a shadow on the wall that dares us to wonder what's out there beyond the firelight of our own certainties, and to have the courage to step into the light and see for ourselves.